The plan is that they would be read into the record. We can certainly, as a court's exhibit, if the court wants it, we can mark the transcript. And in fact, we're certainly willing to stipulate. I don't think it's necessary to have the court reporter transcribe all over again what's going to be an exact duplication of the testimony that's being put in, minus whatever interruptions the lawyers might have here today. We would certainly stipulate to that process if the defense and the court will.
Yeah, I think it's the same. I think we treat it the same as if it were videotaped testimony, except it's right a reading rather than a recording.
Yeah.
So I think we can, if we all agree, we can spare the reporters or the reporter that part.
So then, for the record, we should probably mark a copy in case it ever needs to be read back, right?
Yes, that's right. You can mark a copy. The only question is whether you want to supply that to Mr. Durst, or do we need the court reporter to transcribe the reading?
I think if the young lady that helps him hear by reading, I think we should continue that.
Okay, that's what you'll do.
Thank you.
Very well. So the person reading the witness's statement ought to sit at the witness stand. All right.
Okay.
The persons reading the prosecuting and defense attorney portions may be seated at counsel table, as may the person who is reading the judge, if the judge says anything in these, then you may designate for the jury who will be reading those portions. And who you've already figured that out. Who will those persons be?
So this morning, for the witness David Avina, we have present to read for the prosecuting attorney's part. We have some law students here. Cameron Young, come on up. And for the witness, it will be Courtney Taylor. And unfortunately, the court on this reading has a very small role. The prosecuting
That's best. Smaller is better. Keep that in mind.
prosecuting attorney, Mr. Cameron Young, would just read the court's part as well.
All right, and he'll designate the court. You'll just say the court, so the jury knows that it's the court speaking rather than the.
Do you want the witness in the witness box?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Yes.
And obviously, these roles are not assigned, so the witness was actually male, and that's how he was playing the witness.
Yeah. So
Your
the jury should understand that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That there's no issue of credibility. We're all watching to make sure they read exactly what the testimony was at that Galveston trial.
Your Honor, we want Mr. Lewin to be the defense lawyer.
That would be.
You're going to have to up my salary, Mr. Chestnut.
It would be refreshing, and of course, there are other places where, like in the United Kingdom, a prosecutor or defender might be depending on the case, might have that different role, which is, I think, very, very interesting and a good thing. So.
And I did forget to mention, I apologize. Mr. DeGuerin will read the part of the defense attorney, which was, in this case, Chip Lewis.
Okay. I think you can do Lewis. We have Mr. Lewis in the back, though.
Yeah, we do.
Okay, all right. As you wish.
Mr. DeGuerin will stand on something. He'll
Okay, so
Chip's a big guy.
come on up. Take the witness stand, please. Thank you. Would you like? Is it okay if he stands at the podium, or would you like him seated?
No, at the lectern is fine.
Outside the lectern, yeah.
That's fine. So this is the testimony of David Avina.
Yes. May I mark the transcript next in order, Madam Clerk? What number are we on?
Court's Exhibit 6.
Or is this going to be a court's exhibit?
This should be a court's exhibit because it would not go to the jury, Your Honor. This would be treated like testimony where if they end up
Right, that's right. You could have I see, and if readback were necessary, so the document would be read back.
Right.
We agree with that.
Okay.
All
So
right, so
court
to the
6?
Court's Exhibit 6.
Thank you.
And this is from the September 22, 2003, Galveston County, Texas. Do you, anything else?
No, thank you.
And the prosecutor is Mr. Sistrunk.
Yes, I'm sorry, we should say that. The prosecutor was Mr. Sistrunk, S-I-S-T-R-U-N-K. The witness was David Avina, D-A-V-I-D, A-V-I-N-A. And Mr. Lewis was the defense attorney for this particular witness.
And the Honorable Susan Chris, Judge of the 212th District Court. All right.
Thank you. You may begin.
David Avina, having first and duly sworn, testified as follows. Sir, could you please state your name for the record?
David Avina.
How are you employed?
I'm a nurse.
And speak right into the microphone so that everyone can hear you. You can pull the microphone forward towards you and tip it a little bit towards you. Up towards you. There. I think you that'll work better.
And where do you work as a nurse?
At Surgical Intensive Care at UTMB.
And how long have you been in that capacity?
About 3 years.
And where do you live, sir?
7909 Channelview.
Is that within the city of Galveston?
Yes, it is.
Are you with family, or do you live alone, or what?
I live with my wife and my 5 children.
I want to direct your attention, sir, back to September 30th of 2001. Do you have a little recollection of where you were on that day in that evening?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Can you tell us whether or not you had occasion to go fishing at the pier in that area, in the area of 81st Street and Channelview?
Yes.
Who did you go with?
I went with my stepson and my daughter.
Okay. And do you remember approximately what time you went to that area to fish?
It was about 6 or 6:30.
Do you remember anything about the weather at that time of the evening?
It was a beautiful day. It was clear, the water was calm. In fact, I didn't think I was going to go fishing. But after I saw the water, I thought, yeah, maybe I will.
Was there anybody else out there fishing when you arrived?
There was just us.
Had you been out there previously the day before?
Yes, about that same time, my nephew and my stepson went fishing. And I did see a wade fisherman out there. It was about 6 o'clock the day before.
And the day before, that would have been Saturday, correct?
That's right.
When you were out there Saturday, did you notice anything unusual floating in the water or anything?
No, and I tell you, I remember looking in that direction too, and the wade fisherman was coming out of the water. And we turned around to see if he had caught anything. And we looked in that direction, and no, there wasn't. There wasn't anything unusual.
So, it was you on Sunday then, you, your stepson, and your daughter.
And my daughter.
And how long were y'all out there, approximately?
I was out there maybe 5 minutes, and they had come up on their bikes, and it all happened pretty fast. So we were out there maybe 6 or 7 minutes. It didn't take long. We just left in a hurry.
When you say it didn't take long, would you share with us what you are referring to? Any personal observations you may have made?
Well, my stepson gave me the fishing rods, so kind of in a peripheral vision, I could see him looking over the bulkhead. And just as quick as it takes for him to give it to me, for him to go see if there's any minnows to catch with the cast net, he called back, "There's a pig in the water." And as soon as he got that out, he said, "No, it's a body, David, it's a body." And he just said it so flat like that, I didn't look. I didn't look up, or I didn't go in that direction. But my daughter looked over the bulkhead and she screamed out, "I don't want to see anymore." And she turned around, jumped on the bike, and took off, and I mean in a flash. And that's when I looked up and I looked angry at him, and I said, "You better not be fooling around," and I walked towards him. We both looked over, and he kind of motioned his head at what we had seen. We both looked over. We looked at each other and looked back again, and then we left. So
What was it that you saw floating in the water?
Initially, when I looked over, I just noticed the white. It was a naked man, and he had no legs and arms and no head, but he was floating on his back. And because he was a man, I could tell this was a human body. And I glanced back down again, and I noticed, I guess it had set in at that time, this is a person. It has no arms and legs and head, and in a fishing spot that we go to almost every day. We either walk out there, skip rocks, we go out there every day. We just looked at each other. And I told him to call his mother, to go tell his mother to call the police. And I think I saw the body maybe about less than 10 seconds, just glances. It was just horrifying.
Did the police arrive at the scene? Were you still there?
No, he took off on his bike and he met me home. When I went home, I grabbed the cordless and took it out to the driveway, and that's when I called the police.
Slow down, please.
Okay, do you want me to go back?
No, it's okay. Just go slow from now on.
No, he took off on his bike and he met me home. When I went home, I grabbed the cordless and took it out to the driveway, and that's when I called the police. They arrived less than 5 minutes later. It didn't take long at all.
And did you have occasion to go back to the scene where you saw the torso floating?
He gave us a ride back over there, but we didn't see it anymore. We didn't when he stopped the car and asked us where it was. We just kind of motioned, it's over there. We didn't go close enough to see it again.
When you say he, are you referring to the police officer that arrived at your house?
Yes.
Were you ever asked, or was your son ever asked, to give a statement, or were you ever interviewed by the police in any way?
At that point, no.
At a subsequent time?
Yes.
Do you recall if you ever gave a written statement, or you just spoke generally to them and they just recorded it?
I think it was just generally. Nothing. It was almost like a conversation. Of course, he was writing things down, but I don't remember giving a formal, if that's what it is, just asking me questions, and I was answering them.
May I approach the witness, Your Honor? The court responds yes. Sir, I'm showing you what's been marked for identification purposes as State's Exhibit 200. Does this represent the scene as you saw it on the evening you gave testimony to?
Yes, sir, it is.
No objection, Your Honor.
Offer states 200, Your Honor. The court responds, it's admitted, you may proceed. Thank you, Your Honor. State passes the witness.
No questions, Your Honor.
The court responds, all right, sir, you are excused.
Next witness?
Your Honor. We have I don't know if I think it would be a good idea, we have an exhibit correlation sheet.
Yes.
And so the exhibit that was marked as States 200, may we mark it in this trial as, are we on 181?
Just a moment.
Okay, so may I mark this exhibit correlation sheet as People's 181 and the exhibit as People's 181A?
Yeah.
Thank you. Nothing further for this particular witness, Your Honor.
And now the next.
We have a stipulation. It's original stipulation 28. May I mark this as People's 182?
Yes.
Counsel, do you stipulate as follows? The body and/or body parts recovered from Galveston Bay, in this case near 81st Street and Channelview Drive in Galveston, Texas, on September 30th, 2001, is the body and/or body parts of decedent Morris Black. So stipulated?
Yes.
Thank you.
What stipulation number was that? 20 what?
7.
7, thank you.
Okay, Your Honor, I have.
Did you just say stipulation? I thought you said 28 was 182. It's 27 is 182?
Yes, I'm sorry, 27. I misspoke.
Okay. And it's People's 182, but it's the 27th stipulation. Yeah. So another transcript?
I'm sorry?
Another transcript or more photos?
No, I have another stipulation.
Okay.
I need to. Okay. So, Your Honor, I have a stipulation. May I mark this as People's 183?
Yes.
And I have, stipulation 183 encompasses stipulations 28, 32, and 57.
Thank you.
And I have a stack of photographs, a stack of documents. There's 180 pages to this document, and the pages are numbered 1 through 180. May I mark this stack of photographs as People's 184?
Yes.
All right, this is going to be a doozy. It's a
That's good.
14-page stipulation.
All right.
I'll read it and then ask you to stipulate at the end, counsel. Sergeant Gary Jones is a sworn peace officer with the Galveston Police Department. On September 30th, 2001, he was assigned as a sergeant, assigned as a supervisor in the Identification Division, and he was assigned to assist in the investigation involving the death and dismemberment of Morris Black. As of that date, he had been a peace officer for 13 years and assigned to the Identification Bureau for 11 years. He has an extensive background and training in the collection and processing of physical evidence. On September 30th, 2001, shortly after the first police officers responded, Sergeant Jones arrived at the concrete bulkhead and rock jetty located at 81st Street and Channelview in Galveston, Texas. Photo 1 here on the screen depicts this area. The red circle on photo 1 depicts the concrete bulkhead and rocky jetty where Sergeant Jones first responded. Photos 2 through 8 are further aerial photographs, which also fairly and accurately depict this area. What photo is this? Photos 2 through 5. I'll go back. Tell me when I'm on 2. So photos 2 through 5 are photographs which were taken in 2003. 2, 3, 4, 5. Those were all taken in 2003. The circled area in photo 1 is the specific area where most of the body parts and torso were recovered. Photos 6 through 8 are aerial photographs taken at different points in time after different houses had been built on the concrete bulkhead and in the surrounding area since 2001. These are afterwards, after houses had been built. The colored markings on photos 6 and 7, were made by expert witness Ben Hodges. He will testify later in this trial. When Sergeant Jones arrived, he observed a male torso, who he later had discovered to be the torso of Morris Black, floating halfway in the water and halfway on rocks at the end of 81st Street at the end of the bulkhead. Photos 9 and photos 10 fairly and accurately depict the location of this torso as Sergeant Jones arrived. There was also a blue bed sheet and a white pair of underwear with the elastic band cut in multiple places in the water near the torso. Photo 11 depicts this blue bed sheet in the water near the torso as Sergeant Jones arrived. The blue bed sheet and white underwear were removed from the water and placed onto the concrete bulkhead. Photos 12 through 14 depict this bed sheet and underwear on the bulkhead after they had been removed from the water. Sergeant Jones also observed 5 black plastic trash bags floating in the water at the northwest end of the bulkhead. Photo 15 fairly and accurately depicts these bags in the water as Sergeant Jones arrived. Photo 16 fairly and accurately depicts the location where the torso and bags were seen by Sergeant Jones, and fairly and accurately labels the location where the torso and where the bags were first observed. Sergeant Jones removed the 5 plastic bags from the water, as well as the torso, and he placed the items onto the pier. 2 of the bags appeared to contain items. Upon feeling the bags from the outside, Sergeant Jones believed these items were arms and legs. One of the bags appeared to contain a leg, and there was a toe visible poking through a hole in the bag. Photos 17 and 18 fairly and accurately depict this bag. The remaining 3 bags appeared to be empty. A 6th black plastic bag was recovered from the first cove west of the area where the torso and the other 5 bags were found. It was approximately 500 paces to the west and had washed up onto the adjacent shore. The circled area on photo 19 fairly and accurately depicts the cove where this bag was found. This is photo 19. When I say photo 19, it's page 19 in this exhibit. Photo 20 fairly and accurately depicts this bag as it appeared when it was first found. Morris Black's torso, the 6 black plastic bags, the blue sheet, and the white underwear were turned over to the medical examiner and transported to the coroner's office for examination and analysis. Sergeant Jones coordinated a search of the remaining shoreline of the coves to the west of the location where the bags and torso were found, all the way to the railroad tracks, as well as an extensive search of the shoreline to the east. Among other evidence, Sergeant Jones was looking for Morris Black's head. Upon feeling the bags at the scene, Sergeant Jones felt a total of 2 arms and 2 legs, but no head. During this shoreline search, no further evidence of significance was found, including the dismembered head. Photo 21 fairly and accurately depicts the cove where the torso was found at low tide. Sergeant Jones then went to the coroner's office and was present when the bags were opened and inventoried by Dr. Charles Harvey. Each of the 3 bags containing body parts consisted of a bag tied with an overhand knot, within a bag tied with an overhand knot, within a bag tied with an overhand knot. In other words, the bags were triple bagged and tied. In the first triple bag that was opened, which was referenced bag 1 by the coroner, Sergeant Jones recovered a right human arm, a left human arm, a portion of a shirt, and a red flip-flop sandal. Photo 22 fairly and accurately depicts the contents of this bag. The second triple bag they opened, which was referenced bag 2, was the bag recovered from the cove 500 paces to the west of the torso and other bags. This bag contained a large quantity of sand, a right human leg, a blue plastic cup containing several pieces of white plastic silverware, and a beige-colored napkin, a paper sack containing a white sales receipt from Chalmers Hardware Store, and a small plastic bag containing numerous small blood-stained towels. Photo 23 fairly and accurately depicts some of the items within bag 2 as it was opened. Photo 24 fairly and accurately depicts a photograph of the blue plastic cup and its contents after they were removed from bag 2. Photo 25 fairly and accurately depicts the white plastic bag and its contents after they were removed from bag 2. Photos 26 through 28 fairly and accurately depict the brown paper bag and Chalmers receipt after they were removed from bag 2. The Chalmers receipt was dated September 29, 2001, with a sale time of 4:17 p.m. The items purchased included 42-gallon trash bags and drop cloths. Photo 29 fairly and accurately depicts the right human leg contained within bag 2. The third triple bag they opened, which was referenced as bag 3, contained a left human leg, plastic packaging material for a drop cloth, and a collection of papers. Photo 30 fairly and accurately depicts a partial view of the items seen within bag 3 as it was first opened. The papers included a newspaper addressed to, quote, resident at 2213 Avenue K, Galveston, Texas, end quote. Photos 31 through 32 fairly and accurately depict the newspaper found within bag 3. The papers also included a cardboard blade cover for a Green Thumb brand bow saw blade. photos 33 through 37, fairly and accurately depict the bow saw blade cover that was recovered from bag 3. Photo 38 fairly and accurately depicts the drop cloth packaging that was recovered from bag 3. The fourth bag they opened, which was referenced as bag 4, was tied into a knot but empty. There was a hole in the bag. Photo 39 fairly and accurately depicts this bag. The fifth bag they opened, which was referenced as bag 5, was tied in a knot but empty. There was a large hole and a medium-sized hole in the bag. Photos 40 through 41 fairly and accurately depict this bag. The sixth bag they opened was also tied into a knot but empty. There was a large hole and multiple smaller holes in the bag. Photo 42 fairly and accurately depicts this bag. The 3 empty bags were not triple bagged. They were individual bags tied in knots found floating in the water. They were, however, consistent with having been previously contained within each other in the same fashion as the other 3 bags that contained the body part. Each bag had at least one hole approximately 2.5 to 3 feet wide. These holes were much larger than and inconsistent with the size of the smaller holes in the other bags containing the body part. Sergeant Jones believed that these large holes were consistent with being torn apart by a human or from being ripped on the rocks or oyster shells. On October 2nd, 2001, 2 days later, a trash can container bearing ID number U9621515 was recovered by Officer Herman Hilton from the alley in the rear of 2213 Avenue K in Galveston, Texas. This was the same address that was seen on the newspaper inside bag 3. The plastic bag containing the human left severed leg as depicted in photo 31. This trash can container is depicted in photo 43. On October 2nd, 2001, Sergeant Jones searched this trash can container at the police impound garage. Sergeant Jones recovered several large black plastic trash bags from this trash can container. These bags were consistent with the type, size, material, and color of the trash bags containing the body parts of Morris Black. Photos 44 through 46 show some of the contents of one of these bags. Photo am I on? Okay. Many items in these bags contain Morris Black's blood. These bags contain the following items, among other items of miscellaneous trash. Number 1, numerous paper hand towels and napkins, consistent with the hand towels and napkins recovered from the bags containing Morris Black's body parts. Number 2, several blue plastic drinking cups, consistent with the ones recovered from the bags containing Morris Black's body parts. These blue cups are depicted in photo 47. Number 3, a valet parking ticket for the Four Seasons Hotel with the name Durst, R, period, on the back. The front and back of this parking ticket are depicted in photos 48 and 49. The top oval section, number 4, the top oval section of a trash bag box. This is depicted in photo 50. Number 5, an empty Bank of America money envelope. This is depicted in photo 40. This is depicted in photo 51. Number 6, a receipt from Dr. Ray B. Matocha, Matocha, for Robert Durst. This is depicted in photo 52. Number 7, a USA Today newspaper dated October 1st, 2001. Number 7, a San Luis Spa and Conference Center laundry bag. This is depicted in photo 53. Number 9, a portion of packaging for latex gloves. This is depicted in photo 54. Number 10, a letter of intent to not renew lease dated July 13th, 2001, from Klaus Dillman to Morris Black. This letter is depicted in photo 55. This letter did not contain any bullet holes. Number 11, a hotel guest vehicle parking ticket for a silver Honda CRV, license plate B88TKH, and displaying the name Durst. This is depicted in photo 56. Number 12, a latex glove. This latex glove contained Morris Black's blood. This glove is depicted in photo 57. Number 13, numerous clothing items, including a pair of white underwear, which matched the brand, size, and cuts to the waistband of the white underwear recovered from Galveston Bay near the torso. Number 14, packaging material for a 9x12 drop cloth bearing a yellow and white price tag from Chalmers Hardware. This packaging material is depicted in photos 58 and 59. Number 15, an empty True Value hardware box for a 42-gallon black plastic trash bag. This box is depicted in photos 60 and 61. Number 16, packaging for an, quote, Old Hickory, end quote, brand paring knife. The front and back of this packaging is depicted in photos 62 and 63. Number 17, a .22 caliber expended bullet casing. This is depicted in photo 64. Number 18, a Ruger .22 caliber model 22/24 semi-automatic handgun bearing serial number 223-51668. No magazine was inserted into the weapon, and no ammunition was in the chamber. This weapon is depicted in photo 65, and People's Exhibit 163 is this actual weapon. People's 163 was previously marked, Your Honor.
Yes.
This handgun was registered to defendant and was purchased on August the 30th, 2001. 19. A .22 caliber magazine containing nine live .22 caliber bullets. This magazine is depicted in photo 66. Number 20. A .22 caliber magazine containing 8 live .22 caliber bullets. This magazine is depicted in photo 67. Number 21. A clear plastic Ziploc bag containing 54 live .22 caliber bullets. This item is depicted in photo 68. Number 22. A brown paper envelope containing 312 live .22 caliber bullets. This item is depicted in photo 69. There were no bottles of alcohol found within this trash can container. One was Morris Black's apartment. Upon entering apartment 1, Sergeant Jones discovered that the apartment consisted of a living room, a dining room / kitchen area, and a bathroom. There was a bed in the living room area. Except for the rolled paper on the carpet, which Sergeant Jones laid down, photos 85 through 88 fairly and accurately depict the condition of the living room area when Sergeant Jones arrived. Black trash bags were found on the floor at the foot of the bed. Photo 89 fairly and accurately depicts these trash bags. There was a small closet on the east side of the room with assorted tools noted on the floor of the closet. Photo 90 fairly and accurately depicts these tools. The kitchen / dining room of the apartment was accessed through a walk-through opening from the living room. Located within this room were 2 tables, a round table, and a square table. Except for the rolled paper Sergeant Jones laid down onto the floor, except for that paper, photos 92 through 96 fairly and accurately depict the condition of the kitchen when Sergeant Jones arrived. Number man. He found a wood-handled paring knife and a razor blade on the top of the square table. The wood handle contained dark-colored stains. Photo 97 fairly and accurately depicts this knife. Inside the kitchen, Sergeant Jones also found a bottle of bleach and a bottle of ammonia. There was also the financial section of the Houston Chronicle, dated September 28, 2001, lying on the kitchen floor. The bathroom was accessed through a door from the kitchen. Inside the bathroom, Sergeant Jones found a mop bucket on the floor, cleaning utensils, milk jugs made into cleaning-type buckets, paper towels lying on top of the toilet tank, and a mop lying in the bathroom sink. Photos 98 through 104 fairly and accurately depict the condition of the bathroom. There were no obvious signs of blood inside apartment 1 visible to the naked eye. However, Sergeant Jones utilized fluorescein and an alternate light source to check for the presence of trace amounts of blood. Using this method, Sergeant Jones discovered evidence of blood in the kitchen sink, on a mop in the bathroom, and in the shower. Sergeant Jones also processed the entire apartment for fingerprints, but did not find any. This was highly unusual in Sergeant Jones's experience as an identification officer. He usually finds some fingerprints when he processes living quarters. The apartment contained no personal type items identifying Morris Black. None of Mr. Black's personal effects nor clothing were found within the apartment. The next day, on October 4th, 2001, Sergeant Jones entered and searched Apartment 2. Apartment 2 was defendant's apartment. Apartment 2 consisted of a combination living room / dining room / bedroom, a kitchen with a closet, and a bathroom. Upon entering Apartment 2, the first room you enter is the living room / dining room / bedroom. Inside this room, there was shag-type carpeting. Along the north wall of the room were 2 canvas camping chairs, separated by a television on the floor with a VCR on top of it. There was also a small stepping stool / ladder with an alarm clock and phone books on top of it. Photo 105 fairly and accurately depicts a view from the inside of Apartment 2, looking out the front door into the common hallway of the residence. Photo 106 fairly and accurately depicts the items along the north wall. Photo 107 fairly and accurately depicts the items on top of one of the canvas chairs. There was a latex glove, a set of keys, Scotch tape, and a length of leather rope. The latex glove contained trace amounts of Morris Black's blood. Photo 108 fairly and accurately depicts the step stool ladder. Along the west wall of the living room was a round wooden dining table with a swivel-type chair, a wood chair, and a lamp. The wood chair was positioned in the kitchen when Sergeant Jones arrived. Photos 109 through 111 fairly and accurately depict the items along the west wall of the living room. On the top of the wood table, Sergeant Jones found a USA Today newspaper dated October 1st, 2001, a stack of napkins, a notepad from Wyndham Hotels and Resorts, 2 remote controls, a green ink pen, a pack of Marlboro Lights, and a book of matches. These items are fairly and accurately depicted in photographs 112 through 116. Positioned along the east wall of the living room was a full-size bed. The bed was completely made up and had no signs that it had been recently slept in. Photos 117 through 118 depict the east side of the living room. There were no signs of blood visible to the naked eye in the living room / bedroom / dining room area. Your Honor, should I continue, or what time would you like to break?
Between 10:15 and 10:30. How are you doing?
Okay.
How are you doing? We can go a little, if there's a logical break, we can, in between now and 10:30,
Sure.
or at 10:30,
Okay.
but no later than that.
Thank you.
The jury is aware, because of the agreement with counsel on this literally would probably have been 2 days of testimony, so we...
No, I'm grateful to counsel for reaching this agreement. I encourage you to do it, and I'm grateful that you have. Thank you.
Thank
So continue, please.
Thank you. From the living room / bedroom area, a large open doorway leads into the kitchen. At this threshold, the carpeting stops and transitions to linoleum flooring. This doorway is fairly and accurately depicted in photos 119 and 120. Sergeant Jones discovered beige-colored drop cloths covering the majority of the kitchen floor. Underneath the drop cloth, Sergeant Jones observed numerous sharp cuts to the linoleum flooring. These cuts are fairly and accurately depicted in photo 121. The linoleum flooring was removed, and there was a saturation-type stain consistent with blood on the plywood subfloor directly underneath the cuts to the linoleum. DNA testing established that this was Morris Black's blood. There was no obvious blood visible to the naked eye on the top of the linoleum floor or on the drop cloth. As you enter the kitchen from the living room, you walk through the kitchen and through another open doorway into the bathroom. On the right side of the bathroom doorway, there is a kitchen counter, sink, and kitchen cabinets. On the left-hand side of the bathroom doorway, there is a gas range, cabinets, and a closet. The bathroom doorway is fairly and accurately depicted in photos 122 and 123. The kitchen counters and sink are fairly and accurately depicted in photo 124. The gas range, cabinets, and kitchen closet are fairly and accurately depicted in photos 125 through 128. The following items of evidence were collected from the kitchen area. Number 1, blue plastic drinking cups. These were collected from on top of the refrigerator and are fairly and accurately depicted in photo 129. A brown paper True Value hardware bag. This bag was recovered from the kitchen floor in front of the oven range. It contained a water bottle, napkins, a Q-tip, and other trash items. This bag and its contents are fairly and accurately depicted in photos 130 through 131. Number 3, a box of True Value 42-gallon black plastic trash bags and a shower curtain. These items were located adjacent to the oven range and are fairly and accurately depicted in photos 132 and 133. The price tag on the box of trash bags was from Chalmers hardware store. A plate containing can openers and 3 knives. These items were located on the kitchen counter and are fairly and accurately depicted in photos 134 through 135. Number 5, a mop from the kitchen closet. A small amount of blood spatter was observed on the bottom of the north kitchen wall, the trim board, and the base molding. This area of the wall was removed and preserved for testing and analysis. This was Morris Black's blood. Photo 136 fairly and accurately shows the area of the wall, trim board, and baseboards that were cut out and preserved. Each area of blood spatter on the removed portions of the wall was then circled and numbered. Photos 137 through 161 fairly and accurately depict the blood spatter on these items. The items depicted in photos 137 through 161 were transported to crime scene reconstructionist and blood pattern interpretation expert Tom Bevel for analysis. Sergeant Jones also searched the bathroom area. The bathroom floor was covered in drop cloth. Photos 162 through 167 fairly and accurately depict the bathroom area. There were visible blood drops on the drop cloth on the bathroom floor. These are depicted in photo 165. Sergeant Jones processed the entire apartment 2 for trace amounts of blood not visible to the naked eye using fluorescein and an alternate light source. He discovered trace amounts of blood on the brown living room carpet leading from the kitchen out the front door. DNA testing established that this was Morris Black's blood. He also found evidence of blood in the bathtub. Sergeant Jones processed the entire apartment 2 for fingerprints. In the entire apartment, he only found one fingerprint on the toilet seat. Okay. So on October 9th, 2001, I have a page and a half left, Your Honor. Sergeant Jones heard a radio broadcast that defendant's vehicle was stopped by Officer David Thomas near 13th Street and Avenue J in Galveston. Defendant was the driver and lone occupant of the vehicle. Sergeant Jones went to the area of the stop and saw a defendant being detained by officers near his Honda CRV license B88-TKH. Sergeant Jones had this vehicle secured and towed to the impound garage. Sergeant Jones subsequently searched this vehicle pursuant to a search warrant. Photo 168 fairly and accurately depicts this vehicle at the time of the search. From the rear trunk area of this vehicle, Sergeant Jones recovered a tennis racket, a package of blue plastic cups, and an Ames brand bow saw. These items are fairly and accurately depicted in photos 169 through 172. The rear trunk area carpet also had numerous red blood stains. Sergeant Jones marked and labeled these stains. These markings are depicted in photo 173. This was Morris Black's blood. From a compartment located in the rear tailgate, Sergeant Jones recovered a black case containing a Browning 9mm semi-automatic handgun and an extra magazine loaded with 4 rounds of ammunition. These items are fairly and accurately depicted in photos 174 through 178. Photo 177 is a photograph of People's Exhibit 164. And that's the handgun we already have in evidence. From the center console area, Sergeant Jones recovered a green ink pen and a black wallet. Inside the wallet, Sergeant Jones found 23 $100 bills, 2 rolled marijuana cigarettes, an American Express card in the name of Robert Durst, a Texas driver's license in the name of Robert Durst, and a Bank of America Platinum check card in the name of Robert Durst. These items are depicted in photo 179. From the dashboard ashtray, Sergeant Jones recovered a Marlboro Lights package of cigarettes. From a front dashboard compartment, Sergeant Jones recovered a Young's dry cleaning receipt for a blanket. This is fairly and accurately depicted in photo 180. From the front driver's door pocket, Sergeant Jones recovered a receipt from the Holiday Inn Express, as well as guest information paperwork from that same hotel, indicating room 208. On October 9th, 2001, Sergeant Jones searched room 208 of the Holiday Inn Express in Galveston, Texas. The room had been rented by defendant on October 8th, 2001, under the alias of Jim Tuss, T-U-S-S. It contained some of defendant's clothes and other personal items. So stipulated? Thank you.
That stipulation.
Your Honor,
And
just for
it's-
the record,
Pardon me?
just for the record, the stipulation doesn't serve as a waiver of anything that we did pre-trial.
Oh, right, no, understood. All right, then with that, we'll take our break until 10:45. Do not converse among yourselves or with anyone else on any subject connected with this case. Do not form or express any opinion on the case. We'll see you at 10:45.